Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Digital Download. It's Friday. It's 2 o'clock.
5 to 5.
It's 2 o'clock on UK time in the afternoon, and we're going to take you through some of the things that we found interesting or funny over the last week, and we hopefully will get you to engage. You'll discuss things with us, leave your comments. And hopefully, at the end of the day, you'll actually learn something as much as we do.
Wow!
Exactly. So, should we do some introductions? Do you want to go first, Eric?
Hi everyone. I'm Eric from Crux, and we are partnered with DLA Ignite and all of this crazy gang here.
Hey, there's Lorena. I am.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Lorena, do you introduce yourself?
Are we already online?
We are.
Okay. Good morning to everybody.
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Where's Nick?
Yeah. So I'm Linwood Ross. I'm the founder and CEO of Accelerate, and we are partnered with DLA Ignite. So happy to be here this morning. Great to see all of you.
Cool. Rob.
Good morning.
Rob Flywheel.
Good afternoon. I'm Rob Durant, founder of Flywheel Results, also a strategic partner of DLA Ignite.
Alex.
You're on mute, mate.
You're on mute, mate.
That's so
You're on mute,
2021.
Alex. Exactly.
Well, welcome to your first digital download, Alex.
Try the little, down the bottom of the screen on the right-hand side, the little settings wheel. Go into audio and select a different mic, and we might pick you up.
Adam, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Adam Gray. I'm Tim's business partner at DLA Ignite, and this is a lovely way for me to round out the week.
We're not live.
Are we not?
Unable to go live.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. And I'm getting an error message. Unable to go live. It seems you are already live streaming. To go streaming, stop the ongoing live stream.
Hang on. You're still broadcasting on your channel.
Oh, it seems to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. I can't. The only problem is that error message in the chat. It seems you are already live streaming. To go streaming, stop the ongoing live stream. Hang on. You're still.
Our audience shows we're live.
They are.
Yeah, we are, and you're certainly live on LinkedIn.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I can't put any of the audience comments across because according to Restream, we're not live, even though we are live. Quirky, I know.
Quirky, yeah, absolutely.
It'll be the storm, won't it?
So,
It will be. It's a storm.
it could be. If the people don't know, there's a big storm in the UK and certainly in London where I am. Hold on. Can I let you in? Yes. In where I am, it's the trees are sort of like going like this, so it could be something to do with electricity. So Andrew and Rory and Robert, I can't share your comments if you say something. So appreciate you. We can see it, but we can't share it.
Adam, we'll have a chat about it.
Yeah, Adam, do you want to introduce yourself again?
Hi everyone. I'm Adam Gray from DLA Ignite. I'm Tim's business partner, and I was just about to go off into some eulogy about what a fantastic way this is to round out the week, because it's nice to see all of these guys sharing all of the things that they found interesting during the week.
Alex, are you up and running now?
Well, I think so. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
you're there.
It's a shame I can't use my very expensive mic and practice making some cool sounds using the standard mic. But anyway, hello everybody. My name's Alex Abbott, founder of Supero, and very proud to be DLA Ignite partner. Looking forward to the session.
William.
Hi everybody. My name is William Shorten. I run my own business, William Shorten Learning Solutions. I'm also an executive coach, and I also work with Tim and Adam as a consultant for DLA Ignite.
Lorena, all the way from Peru.
Yes, hi, good morning to everybody. It's very early in the morning. It's 9 o'clock here in Lima, Peru. I am a founder of EDPE Consultants. It's a digital communication strategy consultancy for primarily lawyers and law firms. And I'm very happy to be with DLA Ignite as a partner, the contact person here in this part of the world, in South America.
Thank you, Lorena. And Nick.
Hello.
You're in.
Attempt number 6 to get in, and I'm finally here. I'm Nick, aka That Social Nerd. I work with Mr. Doyle, who's up there in that corner to me, and I'm part of Crux. So yeah, happy to be here.
Good, thank you. So Eric, are you going to go first?
Yeah, if that's okay. This is about something that I see. I'm still not certain this isn't in fetish weirdo territory, but so here's the thing.
Do you want me to share that screen?
No, not yet. You know, we'll come to that. I just want to set the scene first. So if you're into TikTok in a big way, which I am, I love TikTok. I think it's fantastic, and you know, probably one of the most, from a leisure perspective, one of the most visited and used social media sites that I use. I love it. I find it incredibly insightful, and I've bought loads of things that I've seen on TikTok. I've made loads of dishes that I've seen on TikTok. But I have to say, in my feed recently, I've noticed that there's a bit of a phenomenon happening. So I thought this was a new thing. It's not that new. It's relatively new. But in my feed, there's lots of people with very expensive microphones doing this. And I didn't get it, doing things like this. Hello. So I'm watching these things going, is this for weirdos? What is this? But there's just so much of it. There's old people, young people doing it, boys, girls. The phenomenon now is that you've got 2 mics on different channels and they go between them.
You have to have your headphones on, don't you? So
yeah, I think so. So I went to my son and said, "What is all this stuff with people going? Hi, good morning. We're gonna have a nice time." And he said it's called ASMR. And he actually thought that the act of making these videos with ASMR. So I thought, this is a rabbit hole that needs to be explored. It's called Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, ASMR. Sometimes Autosensory Meridian Response. It's a tingling sensation that typically happens on the scalp and moves down the back of the neck and the upper spine. A pleasant form of paresthesia that comes from this sort of low-grade euphoria that's stimulated by these kinds of sounds. Now, actually, these sounds occur in lots of different facets of our lives. But actually, since I've started researching this, I now notice it in adverts. I now notice it in music. Even the Cam app has an ASMR setting on it for sleep. It's usually precipitated as by certain triggers, softly spoken, whispering voices, or quiet, repetitive sounds on microphones. So if you go into YouTube these days and put in ASMR, so I did that. I went into and had a little research. So this is huge, right? And there's been studies done to show that it's got clinical effects. This is a proper thing, the response. So in 2021, little factoid, there were 15 million ASMR trigger videos uploaded to YouTube. 15 million videos designed to trigger ASMR responses. Now, this isn't one of those, I tried it and it didn't work. This works for everyone, right? And I know that Adam Gray's chuckling and smiling over there, because if you do this properly and you get drawn into one of these videos, you start to feel a little relaxation. There's a relaxation angle to this, but it does feel a bit weird. I'm still not convinced that it's not fetish
chatted
territory.
about this, didn't we, earlier in the week? And Tim shared a video of a young German woman who's living in Chicago.
We're going to see her in a second.
Ah, right. Well, then I won't spoil your thunder. Sorry.
No, you're right. Because that young lady's videos get in excess of 20, 30 million views every time she makes a video. Yeah. 20 or 30 million. The biggest one that I found. So the ASMR stars, and there are people who now make. There's a guy in Germany who's you're going to see him in a second. Who's invested in some serious tech. He's made a head with ears, and he's got these little sticks. You're going to see him in a second. But that young lady gets 20. I went on, the highest ranking views of an ASMR video was 75 million views.
Do you know something?
I guess
really...
people are going back, right? They're going back to the same video, right? If it's
it
one
helps
that
them.
gets them, yeah.
When you say help.
What I'd say, I mean, what you've described. I mean, I do meditation on a kind of daily basis, as I've shared with you before, and I actually find that I get that when I'm meditating.
Right.
So it's almost, you get this really weird feeling going along in the top of your brain, and it's almost like the kind of neurons feel as if they're kind of connecting. But ironically, that's in kind of silence or with very little speaking, and it's just being in that moment, which kind of I find triggers that.
So what we're about to see is some of the biggest artists that do this. Some of these videos might be 2 years old. There is a huge amount of money being made in this. There are now ASMR. They call themselves ASM artists. Yeah, they're making a fortune. 20 million views, 30, 40, 60 million views, 70 million views on YouTube. Tim, do you want to? Shall we have a little session? It feels a bit weird. I have to say, I'm not sure. So Tim, if you choose the other, click on that, you'll be able to put it on the main screen, on the bottom. Right. So listen. $11 million views, right? Check this guy.
Welcome back to our cozy little trigger lab. It's ASMR. Zeitgeist.
My name is GB. Welcome to my channel.
23 million views.
Tonight is a combination of a few of my favorite things. Tapping. Scratching. A bit of rambling.
Kenny L. Lewis.
Yeah. So it's really interesting what they do with the ears there. So as some of you know, I began my work career in the hi-fi industry, and there's a high-end headphone manufacturer called Stax, and they used to produce a demo CD which was called the dummy head, and it was recorded with that technique which is called binaural recording. And typically you would put headphones on somebody and they would sit in a room, and it began with a door opening and somebody walking across a room and then whispering in their ear, and everybody used to go because they thought somebody was right on top of them speaking to them. And it's a very disconcerting kind of sensation, isn't it?
So this is a toy. This is a toy that you can buy, which is a ASMR toy to help with the mental wellness of children. So I'm actually interviewing Dr. Amanda Gummer in a few weeks' time about this.
Wow. What are you saying, Tim? Nick?
Those sounds are very similar to what I'd imagine you would hear in the womb. A lot of them. So that's probably, I think, to me. Anyway,
I think you might be right.
Very, very womb-like.
So is that a hypothesis, or you read that somewhere?
Just a hypothesis. Just didn't read it anywhere. Just came up with the idea.
So I just wanted to share a little bit of, because I'm going to leave this group and become an ASMR artist and make a fortune.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. So that was it. Yeah, I found out about ASMR this week purely by fluke, and I noticed that when I shared it on Monday at our group meeting, everybody went, "What?" And went away and checked out YouTube and stuff like that. And it's a thing. It's a huge thing. It's massive, and it's a little subculture that clearly, as Linwood rightly said, people find channels and ASMR artists that they like, and they go back and these people are making a fortune just by rubbing brushes on microphones.
I think you see it a lot, or you hear it a lot on the kind of Sainsbury's adverts as well, where they do like kind of close-ups of food and stuff and things cracking. And
yes,
there's a lot of ASMR in that.
Absolutely. Marks and Spencer's do it, and I noticed today, it caught me today because I'm aware of it. I walked past the TV when there was an advert on for crisps, and the guy was just slowly munching crisps, and I was like, I feel a little ASMR response to that. Or is it that I just want a packet of pickled onion?
Could be that. Could be that.
Could be that. Could be that.
So for people making the comments, just to say that we have a technical issue, and I can't bring the comments. So please keep bringing the comments and making them. But I just can't bring them up down the bottom.
I reckon Mike O'Connor from SPN knew all about this ASMR stuff. Absolutely.
So there was a comment from Kenyal Lewis about you, Nick. I don't think you saw it.
Yes, I did.
You did. Are you just keeping quiet, were you? He said that you look like the guy off the wrestling commentary or something.
It looks like Big Show. Let me just pull up Big Show, everyone.
We lost somebody.
Adam.
Yeah,
Tower.
He said he was going to be stormbound.
Just thanks for dropping by, Mike. Are you looking for something, Eric?
I'm looking
he's looking for Big Show.
All right.
Oh, you do look like Big Show.
You look just like him.
I just need the spandex.
Leotard, yeah.
You need a more menacing look, though. You're smiling. Big Show doesn't look like he smiles too much.
Yeah, I smile and I laugh way too much to be a pro wrestler, unfortunately.
He's paving the way for his movie career.
Yeah.
Who wants to share their content next?
How do you follow that?
If
it's
you
about
can...
wrestling. We're not doing wrestling again, Nick. Please.
it's not wrestling. I've put it in the private chat. You can bring it up. It is a video, and there will be sound. Hopefully, it should.
Oh, you want me to share it?
Yes, please, because I've got no capability to do that inside Safari because of Restream. But yeah, if you can share it. So it's you got the link. Is it working?
This one.
Yep, that's the one. If we can get the sound on. So this is by Rob Mayhew, and he's head of influence at Fleischmann Hillard.
Yeah, he does. On?
Yes, please. Yeah, he does a load of skits about agency life. His stuff is just hilarious. If you can get it full screen and get the sound on, that would be cool. I don't think it's playing.
It's playing, yeah.
You're looking forward to the weekend?
Or it is playing.
It's not playing on our screen though that we're watching.
Ooh.
Let me see.
Do you still do Krav Maga? Do you think you could beat Joe Rogan? How are you, Sophie?
It's just, he does these awkward little skits about agents.
It is. It's really funny. I think it's hilarious. Why aren't you laughing?
Because I can't see it moving.
Because we couldn't see it.
Yeah,
or hear it.
We can't see it moving. We could just hear it. I could just hear the audio. But his stuff is hilarious. He just does these little skits about agency life, and I find it interesting that someone as big as Fleischmann Hillard is now. They have effectively an in-house influencer that's producing content on the platform to get their name out.
Head of influence and TikTok creator. So he actually works. Yeah, very interesting, right? Very interesting.
Yeah.
Head of influence.
Yep. Interesting stuff.
Yes, agencies have finally cottoned on to the fact that they need to be influencing people.
Well, did I even get into that?
Yeah. But yeah, his stuff is fantastic, and just really kind of low accessibility in terms of the production values are awful, but the content's just really good, really well done, and obviously he's using repurposing content that he's already produced on TikTok as well, so no extra work really. But,
don't you think that's incredible that big agency is happy with that kind of handycam, like Dan Creasy we both, you introduced me to Dan, right? So Dan Creasy at Panasonic, and the megalith that is Panasonic, and the the content that boy creates is I've never seen anything like it in my life.
My favourite one is the one where he falls over and accidentally produces a video, and as the phone's flying up in the air, just his stuff is so funny.
But there's the giant sort of corporate machine that is Panasonic, and is he head of marketing for Toughbook, right?
Yeah, for Toughbook, yeah.
And he creates content that's over on the sort of fringe festival scale of norm. He's so far away from normal content. It's bizarre, it's challenging, and he doesn't give a monkeys if people are jumping all over it or not, because he wants to produce his own kind of art.
He just loves, he just loves doing it, and you can tell there's love in every single frame of the stuff that he does. It's just
100%, love it.
It's actually really it's really remarkable, the ASMR stuff and what you're talking about with this guy is how there's just, with social media, with what's going on with digital in the world, like there is a community for everything. I mean,
yes.
It seems to be working now, Tim. If you can.
Yeah, I've got it. Yeah, I think I've sussed it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Can you hear it?
You can hear it and see it. Yeah. Can you make it full screen?
Yeah.
Looking forward to the weekend. John, you're the only person I know that still drinks Red Bull. Do you still do Krav Maga? You could beat Joe Rogan. How are you, Sophie? How are you getting on with the coffee break? Does it make sense? They're just thought starters from me and the client, and it's completely up to you. But whilst I'm here, do you know how long you'll be? 2 hours. Yeah. I'll put something in the diary and then we can. Right.
Is he in pajamas?
No, it looks like he's a Christmas jumper on.
It's a jumper with sheep on it.
Yeah. It's just really awkward little. They're just beautiful little moments in time.
I like that.
Yeah,
just
really
some thought starters from me, but just while I'm here, how long are you going to be with that?
Brilliant.
Just on saying that, I feel Sophie's pain, who he's talking to, because I happen to work with Nick, who, if Nick says on a call, "Can I have that today, please?" within 8 minutes of that call, you'll have 3 texts saying, "How you getting on with that? How you getting on with that? How you getting on with that? How you getting on with that?
Is it done yet?
Is it done yet? Is it done yet? Is it done yet? I'm just in the bathroom, Nick. If that's okay, I'll catch you later.
You're not allowed toilet breaks. Do it faster, Doyle. Faster and better.
You said as soon as you could. Yeah.
Who's going next?
I'm happy to share.
Okay. Are you're normally okay doing the sharing yourself, aren't you, Rob?
It's gone well so far. Let's try.
Yeah. So the last two weeks, you've got a round of applause at the end of your thing, haven't you? So,
I've really set myself up. I don't know that this will equate, but I wanted to share a post from Andy Paul. Andy often talks about sales and sales enablement. In this post, Andy shares some information from a HubSpot poll. Apparently, the HubSpot poll states only 3% of people consider salespeople to be trustworthy. On the other hand, 49% trust doctors, 12% trust accountants, 10% trust professional musicians. Although why they're even on the poll is curious to me, but he concludes with, "We can do better." But like most content, the real conversation takes place in the comments. Comments range from the snarky, more than one commenter asked where the lawyers and politicians ranked. To be honest, that was exactly where my mind went at first as well. There were more motivational, "we can do better" sentiments. There were the "not me" comments. "Here's how I build trust." And of course, there were the defensive posts. "Blame it on leadership. The competitive nature of sales established," according to one commentator, in the 1980s. Or the tried and true scapegoat, The used car salesman killed it for all of us. No doubt the truth is somewhere in between. But my question is this, and Tim, I'm sure you know the answer to this off of the top of your head, as well as many, if not all, of those on this panel. What's the typical response rate for cold outreach? Insert curious emoji.
Very good. Come on, come on. A round of applause for that. Come on.
Yeah, big time. Outstanding.
I thought this might at least elicit a conversation around correlation and causation.
Well, you wondered why lawyers and politicians didn't appear on the poll. It's because the poll was about trustworthiness.
Feel the burn.
If it's the Abelman trust thing, I think salespeople are higher than politicians and lawyers.
Yeah, absolutely.
But not much higher.
I like the musician part though. It's like, are you going to get the new album by the
Radiohead?
By whoever? Radiohead? No, I don't trust the drummer.
I don't trust the bassist.
That bass player, there's something shifty about him.
He's shifty looking.
I just don't get that sense of trust from him.
How he holds the guitar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Richard Blackmore.
Great stuff, though. But again, plays into the whole if only, I don't know how many were in the survey. We don't know the metrics and the maths, but 3% of people are saying in the survey that they only 3% were saying they trusted salespeople. Then there's a massive opportunity to become a trusted salesperson. If you flip these things around their head and say, I once wrote a fact in a study which said that it was something like, and it just made me put my head in my hands. 70% of clients said that their suppliers' marketing teams provided relevant information. So I built a blog around that, and this cold calling outreach person came back and went, but that means there's 30% left that we can still attack.
There's 1%. We can go after it. It's totally over.
Get after it. Come on.
I've just noticed.
Typical sales. The glass is well and truly half
There's
full.
30% left, boys. We can ring it out.
Robert Matson's mentioned reference in the video that I put up earlier, or Tim put up earlier, is because it's not coming from the company, the video is coming from the employee. My work here is done.
Mic drop.
Yep, that's it. It's coming.
Have you seen
coming from the employee.
Robert Matson he said bass players are always shifty.
Bass players are always shifty. Yeah, very much so.
Drummers are always meant to be mad, so
yeah, exactly. The prima donna lead guitarist. Who's next?
The drummers. It's the what's in Spinal Tap? It's the combustion, isn't it? Instantaneous combustion. They just blow
instantaneous
up.
combustion, and then you just turn it up to 11.
Yeah. So Lenwood's next.
That's one more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually. Perfect. That's the post. So this is a post from Francis. I don't know how to say his last name. I think it's Sale.
Yeah.
He's talking about a press conference that the mayor of New York, Eric Adams, gave. I want to say it was yesterday or day before yesterday. And in the press conference, the mayor said that CEOs need to, over the next couple of weeks, in their work from home policies and bring their people back into work. And I wanted to raise this issue because I think it really reflects the magnitude of impact of the pandemic and how perspectives on it have still, I don't think, caught up with reality. The pandemic was once in a generation kind of event, and
God willing,
it's really changed. It's really changed everything, and it's a ripple effect right through the economy. And the mayor's, I really feel for the mayor here because he's looking at businesses that have been shuttered in New York for now 2 years, all those small business people. He's looking at tax revenue down in New York. How are they going to keep the subway going with so few people running the subway? But the reality is that these CEOs they're not in control of. I mean, it seems like they're in control or that they can control work from home. But I saw a statistic that 60% of people are working from home, not because of a policy, because they can. They can work from home. It's a voluntary thing. So and there's there's other statistics about the increase in productivity, statistics that I've shown from the I believe it's University of Chicago, and it's the University of Chicago that says that the productivity gains during the pandemic are real. Those gains came from ending the work commute. So people not having to travel, sometimes an hour and a half both ways, that resulted in real productivity gains because they turned that hour or hour and a half or 2 hours into, I'm doing work for the company, right?
Yeah.
So, I just wanted to raise this. I had, I got some other interesting statistics from some of my folks in the real estate industry. 36% of large enterprises say that flex space, like co-working space, is going to be a big part of their go-forward strategy. Okay. In most big cities, the large enterprises make up 30 to 50% of the commercial real estate market. Okay. In the largest co-working market, which is London, co-working facilities only make up 6% of the market. So that is a huge transition for the real estate industry.
Massive.
And I heard an analyst on Bloomberg yesterday say that this is a years-long transformation, and the large office towers are going to suffer because that type of a building, which is New York City, it's not conducive to what is needed for the new era of work. So I just wanted to raise this, see what people thought about it, and this is a big issue for cities.
Yeah, we have the same issue in London.
Wonder what's going to happen to all that commercial real estate and whether it's going to get turned into flats, houses, or what's this?
Well, I read an article the other day saying that that already we're seeing apartment developments being sold WFH ready. So not now with a 2-bedroom and a box room, 2-bedroom and a WFH ready workspace with extra internet, with an Ethernet connection, and set up for working from home comfortably with good light and all that. The change is here; it's not coming.
Yeah, that's a great point, Eric. There's a huge development here in New York City. I cannot remember the name of it, but it's a multi-use. There's like a mall. There's extremely expensive apartments, and then there's all this office space that's in there. And I'm talking, this is like a city within a city. It's such a huge chunk of New York City. What you're saying there leads me to believe that a lot of those big commercial spaces are going to end up getting turned into kind of work from home facilities where the people who live in those apartments can kind of go out and be in a huge kind of community of people who no longer are going to be going into their offices, but working right there in the building.
Yeah, totally.
I came across something in the Harvard Business publication about 2 or 3 weeks ago that was talking about this, saying about 30% of the workforce is never going to be returning to an office, but companies were only going to reduce their real estate assets by like 1 to 3%. I just tried a quick search for that article now. I can't find it, but I found that fascinating as well. Even though the people are shifting, the companies are not shifting their assets to account for that. And I was curious
One
as to why.
One of the reasons was the fact of social distancing.
Yeah.
So you've got so what you're doing is that you're having to put so in Singapore, I think they've passed a law where you can only put now a third of the people into the office space.
Right.
So actually, you could actually say that office space is expanding because you've got to get more people into the office space. But changing the subject back to what you say, London exactly the same. Lenwood, I've seen lots of pictures of people saying we're back in the office, and I understand that people are commuting with their noses up against the windows and packed into trains and stuff like that. All of the small businesses that were out there, the coffee shops and the dry cleaners and all of those things, they're the people that are suffering, and they're suffering hard.
Yeah.
And that's big business rates, as Lenwood was saying, in terms of kind of tax, etc. I think there's several interesting strands there, what you've been talking about. I mean, I remember reading something last year when people started to talk about the conversion of office space into apartments, etc. The building standards between office space and accommodation, living space are different, and the setup in terms of kind of ventilation and glass, etc., is different. So there may be something in terms of how they make that switch across, because it's not just we take this space and then we convert it. There's a lot of kind of work that you have to do around the insulation and a whole load of other business regs, which, given some of the situations they've had in London with problems with buildings, one would imagine that they're being more careful about than they have done in the past. I think the other interesting thing is that kind of when things started to first go back to normal, inverted commas, last summer, I remember talking to some business colleagues of mine, and they were saying, we're finding it really difficult to get people to want to go back into the office because the genie is out of the bottle, and they've seen how much they enjoy working from home now. So I think as you get with a big seismic event like this, I mean, I really dislike the title The Great Resignation, because I don't think it's as kind of simple as that. But I mean, what we're seeing is a big realignment of work-life balance, people's views on what work means for them, where they want to work, and then the knock-on effect of organizations being able to manage that. And I think organizations have been kind of behind the curveball here, because it's really difficult for them to kind of catch up. All these things have kind of happened, and they're still at that stage where they're kind of trying to process it through and work out, well, what does this mean for us, and then how can we try to get ahead of what's going on. And I think this kind of realignment, readjustment is going to go on for probably another 12-18 months, something like that.
Big time. Cool.
Thanks, Lenwood. I think it's one of those subjects I think it's going to run and run. And it's interesting to see. I can understand him saying we need to be back to the office. I can also understand the fact that here I am and I'm not in an office.
I had this conversation with Danielle Guzman on our last post. Sorry, Danielle, if you're watching, where she talked about flexibility and how companies, and I sort of challenged it a little bit, because wherever we've seen before that flexibility was the first take on something, the first step on something, we've always seen that processes have got better and advanced. So my challenge to it was the flexibility part. I'm just thinking about it with Sarah, and she, her in her new role. They said, well, we can be flexible in how you want to work, but that to me seems a little loosey goosey, and a little kind of like it puts a lot of pressure on the employee, because like we'd rather have you here, but we can be flexible. We can be flexible about what you want to do, right? So that flexibility leans towards kind of like, but we'd rather, in brackets, silently, we'd rather have you here.
But hybrid working, the whole term hybrid working is still the factory system.
Yes.
Which is what Henry Ford designed. Which is you walk in and you're given a little job, and then you hand it on to somebody else. And and what we have is what's going on is that we're actually looking at the factory system, and we're saying we don't want that. And
yeah,
so people, there's also a view that we should have hubs to go and work at. So you should be able to say, I'm going to go and work in the local coffee shop or a Starbucks. So it's not just about the office or working from home. What we're going to do is we're going to form a little hub. We're going to go to a coffee shop and we're going to work there, because hybrid working is the factory system, and that doesn't
totally. But my point with Danielle was, if you see flexibility as the first step, then the evolution of this might very well be that down the line that we've got like companies, or like companies that who was the company that said we're not going to be cold calling anymore? Merrill Lynch, and said we're not doing that anymore, right? So there's an evolution. So you could think, perhaps hypothesize, that an advancement of this would be bespoke designed lifestyle packages designed for individuals at the start, designed in, not flexible. We'll see how it goes. Do what you want. Designed in lifestyle suitability packages for new employees that are completely different to the next guy and the next girl and the next guy and the next girl.
But it also brings into the fact that what you have is a generation that comes. I work in a generation of people that basically will, if you're told that you work from 9 till 5, you'll work from 9 till 5. So the next generation of people, millennials, will say, what's my work package? When I finished it, can I go home? So if I finish it by 3 o'clock, I'm off. Whereas what we would do is we would sit in the office probably playing Patience on the PC for another 2 hours.
Minesweeper.
And so, or Minesweeper, yeah. So we have this generational thing where, so it's also not, the discussion isn't just about offices and hybrid working. It's also about, are we going to work to outcomes?
Yeah. So that's actually taking the whole concept of what is work and redesigning it for the future, not just bolting on a little bit. Well, you can work 2 days from home if you want. That's really cool. That's not what this is about, I don't think. I think that's just a clumsy first step.
Well, I think that, really speaking to kind of what Tom has mentioned here about the future of work, what organizations are really doing today is really a network of projects, right? And so what most likely human resources departments are going to end up doing is aligning both virtual and physical experiences for projects. So it will be much more intentional than it has been. The office, the approach has been, okay, we're going to design an office to create, serendipitous encounters and hope some good things come of that the people in the organization meet and talk, have all kinds of ideas, that kind of thing. Just because of the nature of what's happened with hybrid working, we're seeing a very rapid move. I think we will see a very rapid move to a much more intentional way of working where you have people on projects.
So building on that, Lenwood, I mean, part of one kind of vision I have is perhaps a bit dystopian, because I think with that, once you don't have to have people coming in and working in a central hub, and we've moved away from the kind of paternalistic model, so we've got something which is much more kind of then flexible. Actually, you get to a stage where perhaps some companies say, well, actually, why do we need all of these employees? And why don't we put everybody on 0 hours contracts? Because we've got bespoke kind of projects, and we're almost going to auction these projects out to people who are going to be working from home. They're all going to be self-employed, and they're going to do these little itsy bitsy projects, and that's all that we all that we need them for. And all of those overheads that we have of, pensions and providing these kind of other benefits for people, actually, we can save all of that money. And actually,
by the way,
with the technology that's coming as well, with AI and all of those type of things, then actually, the nature of work and the people who are going to be in work we can kind of get rid of perhaps what people would perceive as dead wood, and we can focus much more on outsourcing all of this labor rather than having the cost of it ourselves.
You know,
sounds like Mad Max, Will.
Well, it's not quite like.
Well, we're going to start chasing oil tankers.
Dystopian. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it comes back to what was said before on this show. If you push into the future enough with the future of work, you get to the point where these sacks of jelly and bone become limiting factors.
Yeah.
But the idea of a job for life evaporated years ago, didn't it? And you know, people talk about the gig economy, or have been doing for sort of 20 years. You know, the idea that you do 2 days a week working at company X, a day a week as a painter, you know, a day a week gigging, and a day a week doing waiting tables or something, or whatever it is, you know, and that's how you make up your working week. Isn't what you just described, Will, a natural evolution of that?
I think it is, but what I'm saying is that accelerates. So at the moment you've got a certain amount of people who are not in the gig economy. If you then suddenly triple that amount of people, then where does that leave us? Because actually you have people fighting for that type of, you know, those work, and those roles aren't going to be open to everybody.
No, but I think the flip side of that coin is that the reason that you employ somebody is so that you've got first refusal on their time, isn't it? So, you know, you, and I'm looking at any one of you, have a very specific skill set, and I need that skill set to execute on this project. And then you tell me, actually, I can't come and do this project for you, and I can't start for 4 months because I'm currently working on another big project. Well, actually, that's my loss. So what I need to do is I need to manage that risk, and either manage it by employing you full time, or by giving you an on the bench reservation fee, or we work out something which is an appropriate way for me to have first refusal of your time. But ultimately, you know, it is supply and demand, isn't it? Hasn't it always been? You know, I don't need you for this role, so I'll make you redundant.
Yeah, can I bring Lorena in?
Thank you.
Because
no, but
I want her to give her 15 minutes.
It has been a very interesting discussion, and I think it's very, very philosophical. So we don't have the answer, and it depends on the view. Because in my country, for example, where we are very intensive on handwork, you can't have this kind of discussion because you have to go to the fabric and work. So but I think we have to go on with that discussion, with this evolution. So I chose this post. It's maybe very serious. It's not very funny, but it's because I've been working with some people on producing content. And the most difficulty for this, let's say, pupils or students or people that I am coaching is to produce content. And I found this lady. It was very random, and I've been following her, and she's a partner at a very large law firm in Germany, and it's a worldwide law firm, CMS. And she has committed, and she wrote that in January, to post every on the birthday of prominent lawyers, women lawyers that were Jewish, and that were and that couldn't be exercise their profession during Nazism. And it's been very interesting because maybe she has not too many or a large interaction or whatever. But what I noticed is that since Julia, I don't know her, started posting this kind of publications, she's got very involved in posting about other topics, maybe very legal topics. And what I told everybody is, you have to start a posting. And in this case, it's very interesting because it's history. She's engaged with this topic. I don't know why, because I don't know even if she's Jewish. And the other thing is that it brings you more information. For example, in this on this post, I read it, and it was very interesting about this women lawyer. And yes, I'm looking again the post, no, and she tells about Elisabeth Kohn, who was born in Munich. But the nice takeaway for me from this post was that Julia tells about the sister of this lawyer, who was a painter and who has a wonderful production of paintings. She was also murdered during Nazi time, and now at the Munich Museum, State Museum, you can visit a digital exposition from the sister. So that's why I actually I wanted to my lineup. My bottom line is it's very producing content brings so much. It's not complicated, and yes, that's what was my.
It's lovely, Lorena. Thanks for sharing it, because it's one of those pieces where people are, oh, we have to post business content, which usually means a brochure, and here we are. It's not about Julia. It's not actually. We read it as Judi Dench when I was obviously I need to get some new glasses. Here's someone saying this is something I believe in, and it's a lovely piece. Thank you.
Yeah, and one of my students has posted, because we all at DLA Ignite also are trying to convince people to post not only, as you said, about business, but about anything that they find interesting.
Yes,
and that's it.
Yeah, I think Eric came up with the title, or it may be Brentney, I can't remember, but it was lifestyle content, or was it Adam? I don't remember, but
I think it was the group
life content.
The middle part, the middle part of the Zen diagram.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I hadn't really thought that much about it, but I will likely use it in my next group, which is this idea of, as a gateway to getting people more engaged, getting a person who wants to be engaged on LinkedIn to overcome maybe some anxiety, right, about content, to share something that they're passionate about, and use that as a way to get comfortable. And I think what people will find is, when you're sharing something from your heart, that's going to resonate with other people, that topic touch from a heart to heart way, and that will help you build a community, and then you can go on from there. And I love it as an approach, and I definitely am going to use it in my next group.
That's a lovely link into what Tim's just brought up on the screen, actually, which is my piece. And so Pam is a coach. I kind of know her through the network, and as most of you know, I join Eric every week on the Big Breakfast Burrito, and I usually share a piece of poetry. So because this was poetry, this had a link to me and to my passions, to come back to the point you were making, Lenwood. And Pam, as she explains in the piece above the poem, is going through a few struggles with these bolts, which have been made for after an operation that she's had, and she's had a kind of tough couple of days dealing with stuff. And then she's posted this poem about the mountain, which I think is a really nice poem, great metaphor for these challenges that we face in life, and how it's okay sometimes not to charge at them and try to overcome them if we're not in the right place to do that. That actually we can choose to say, on this point, we're going to stop here, or we're not going to try and climb the mountain. The mountain will still be there for us tomorrow, or the day after, or next week. And hopefully we can come back at that point when we are stronger, we feel more able to deal with it, and to be able to meet the challenge that we set ourselves. So I had the connection there of a fellow coach who's going through a tough time, and then there's a really nice poem here which talks about how you can overcome the challenges you face.
Fantastic.
Yeah, really nice.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it on her feed. Actually, was it recent?
Yeah, it was a couple of
3
days
ago,
Eric. But I can send you the link directly.
Yeah, please.
It's
Absolutely.
in Slack, Eric.
It's in Slack. Brilliant. Thank you.
In the channel.
Love that. Beautiful.
Is this me again? Oh yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's
we haven't heard from the man at the center of the room.
We got that
was me.
Just a post of mine.
Yeah.
Nice.
And interestingly, I wouldn't normally talk about a post from one of our team, but you posted this, and I thought it was really interesting, particularly because after the power cut, I came back in and we were talking about kind of staffing issues and getting people and retaining people and how that work-life balance works. And there was the bit that you spoke about here about when polled, most people would rather have fun. What does it actually say? Most people rather have well-being than material benefits as a result of going to work. And it's really interesting for me because we engage with a large number of clients, and often projects that are due to start don't start when they're supposed to start, because large numbers of staff or people that are due to be on programs leave, and they recruit new people, and then some of the other people leave or the new people leave. And even when you get a full complement to begin a program, because obviously everybody on this webinar knows this, but people in the audience maybe don't, typically one of our programs might last for 10 or 12 weeks. And during that time, often people leave organizations. And it strikes me that a huge amount of lip service is being paid to employee welfare and purpose and all of those things. And organizations talk about putting their teams and the people within the organization first, but often they're paying lip service to it. And the reason is that those people are still being compensated and measured and assessed against a set of criteria which belong in the factory era. Your comment,
right,
Tim, about the Model T Ford, and it's like everyone's doing a tiny little bit of work, and so much of the structure of businesses these days, not our business, but a lot of businesses, tend to be focused on this. Well, we want this, but actually you've got to do all of this old stuff which isn't relevant anymore. And I wonder whether or not there are any organizations out there, certainly large organizations, that are actually really genuinely walking the walk, or whether they're just doing a passing nod to making themselves better.
I know of one organization that is doing something which is a large organization, huge organization, that is doing something that's pretty dramatic. Can
you name them?
Huh?
Can you name them?
Of course. It's Microsoft.
Okay.
And what Microsoft has done is they've said that they want to see their people spend 20% of their time learning.
Wow.
Yeah, because they want to be a learning culture. And I was on a panel with someone from Deloitte, and he said he had not heard of that from any other large organizations. So Microsoft is way ahead on this. And I talk about Microsoft a lot, but you cannot deny the transformation that has occurred at that company since Satya Nadella took over. They've been way ahead on hybrid learning and virtual learning experiences. They've been doing it for 6-7 years now.
His well-known quote, wasn't it, Lenwood? I want to go from a know-it-all corporation to a learn-it-all corporation.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. Big, huge quote. And that cultural transformation has led to a revitalization of that organization. I mean, Microsoft was on the verge of becoming obsolete 7 years ago. I mean, they were in real trouble. And now they have everyone used to talk about FANG, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. And now it's Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. So I don't even know how you say that, but Mang, I guess. Mang. But yeah, so that they're the only huge organization that I know of that's really done something that's pretty dramatic.
There's a lot of stuff. If you read various books, there was a French writer called Leloup who talked about reinventing organizations. And he had probably examples about 5 or 6 different organizations about how they were reorganizing, trying to give much more purpose in the organization, trying to give a lot more autonomy to people in the organization. Tim also very kindly last year sent me a book about rehumanizing the workplace, which also again highlighted about 6 organizations which are doing this. One organization which was mentioned in both of those books is it's a kind of care association in the Netherlands called Buurtzorg, and so it's about nurses in the community going around and supporting the elderly who live in the community. So rather than having them in a big care home, they're still in their own homes, but the nurses go around on a day-to-day basis, and they basically within perhaps a few blocks, they have a certain amount of nurses who look after that particular area, and they've given them a complete autonomy about how they go about that, what kind of shifts they work, how they organize themselves as a group. So there are things out there. Gore-Tex is an organization that sometimes gets quoted in terms of how it manages its people. Funnily enough, I spoke to a manager who's moved into another organization who used to work for Gore-Tex, and he said, it was up to a certain extent, it was great kind of working there because there was a certain amount of freedom, but also that kind of freedom did work against people at certain times, and it got a bit kind of disorganized and a bit messy, and he said that kind of aspect got quite tiring of working there. There's another organization in Brazil, I've forgotten the name of the guy who runs it, but he wrote a book called Maverick. He inherited his father's organization, which was very much around kind of manufacturing, and he decided after a few years of being in charge of that he wanted to do something completely different, and he opened it up and has brought in again a lot more kind of a democratization in terms of how people operate there. So there are these kind of beacons out there, and yet at the same time I was speaking to a consultant, a coach who I worked with about 10 years ago, and I reconnected with him a couple of months ago, and he said, there's a lot of organizations who are saying that they do these things, but actually when you look at it in detail, they're not doing it. And he's grown a bit kind of disillusioned with working organizations who come out with these big statements, but actually don't walk the talk.
Interesting, very interesting topic. Could go on and on, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, we're over time. Sorry for the technicalities today.
That worked out.
Yeah, and just so there's loads of really great comments, but we couldn't put them up. So sorry, but thank you to everybody who made the comment. Thank you to Eric, Lenwood, Rob, William, Lorena, Nick, Adam, and Alex, who's gone. And thank you. And it was Alex's first time as well. So hopefully we'll see him next week. Hopefully he hasn't run off. And
he'll be back.
And no, I have no idea what I'm going to do now, because if I press a button, we go live, and we're live. So
we'll just leave.
We'll quietly go out the door and shut it.
And shut the door. Yeah.
Well, do me a favor and reset the chat.
Yeah. So let's do what you were.
Yeah. So I've sent you a link.
So what happens is that opens a tab.
Yes.
Yeah. So if I click the reset on the
tab, not on the show, on that chat tab.
Yeah.
Right. So it should have gone blank to blank screen.
Yeah.
And now see if you can pull any of the conversation over on the show.
No.
Nah, it's not worked. Anyway.
I'm going to try resetting this anyway.
No. Don't do it. That'll
well, we're going to switch it off anyway, aren't we?
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Cheerio, guys. Have a great weekend.
Goodbye.
All right.
See you. Nice weekend. Bye bye.
Cheers, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.